I'm Eliza.
I'm Clare.
Claire, nice to meet you.
Nice to
see
meet you. Okay, thank you.
So Claire, I understand that you've been struggling with some thoughts from your past that have been resurfacing. So do you want to kind of give me more like description about that? Like what's been coming up for you?
Well, I guess like right now where I'm at in my life, I'm kind of like in a place where I'm like stuck. Cause I think I'm good to go, but I just like have been thinking about like everything that's happened in the past. I guess I never really like let myself like think about it, and I kind of just like suppressed it, and now it's kind of all surfacing at once. I don't really know how to like deal with it, I guess.
Okay. Well, it's good that like you finally like realize like this is something that you need to like kind of bring out into the open to really be able to move forward from it. So what exactly like has like been making you feel this way, like been making you feel stuck? Like what, if you don't mind me asking, like what happened?
Well, I guess the thing that kind of triggered it was one of my best friends just had a baby, and so her husband kind of seeing that, like watching the dad of the child like kind of have that bond, because when I was younger my dad like left our family, me and my mom and my little sister, and so I never really like had that bond with like a father figure or anything like that. So I guess it's kind of just like I never like realized how much like missed that, or like kind of like longed for that until I saw like Sarah's husband and their daughter. So
Yeah, so you just feel like there's like a piece of you that's always been missing, and
Mhm.
you just, it kind of got re-triggered by your friend's baby because you never had that bond, but that's something that you've always wanted.
right.
So like, well, how do you think that not having a father figure in your life like has affected you like long term?
Well, I mean, like when I look back at my life and like where like what I've done to get where I am, I guess it's not really like a positive journey at all, and like I don't want to like blame my father for that, but like I feel like it was kind of my way of like dealing with things and coping with that. But again, like I don't want to like blame my father for that, but like once he left us, it was just like me and my mom and my little sister, and that was like really hard for us. It was really hard for my mom, and she kind of like would shut down every once in a while, and I would kind of have to like, I guess like grow up quicker than what I was like wanting to, I guess, and kind of like take care of my little sister. And so that was always really hard because like I always had to be strong for my mom and for my sister, and I guess I could never like really feel what I was feeling, or like allowed myself to like enter into that emotions with that and like understand what was going on. But then like, so then my mom like started getting like really sick, and so my sister and I was like 18, and we just like lived in a little like shack home, and it was like kind of hard for us. Like we lived in New Orleans, so we were like pretty poor, and so it was hard for like my sister. And my sister was like still younger than me. She's like 12 like now, so she didn't really know what was going on or anything. But so then my mom like started getting really sick, and so that's when I like really had to do everything for our family, and like she could never work, and even when she did work, like we had like barely anything, you know, like we could never really survive. Really, we were kind of like always wondering where our next meal was gonna come, and I was always just worried about like my mom and my sister, and so then I felt like I had to like kind of like be the adult. And then like my mom started getting sick, and then so that's when I kind of like turned to like prostitution, I guess, to kind of like get some extra money and stuff. And it was like kind of like weird because my mom like kind of like knew that like that's also what I had to do, because like we were a low income family and I didn't go to school or anything, so I didn't have an education to get a job. And so my mom like kind of was like, this, you know, like this is what you have to do. And like, so like I was kind of like mad at my mom and my dad, because like if my dad wouldn't have put us in that situation, like I never would have had to do that. But like, and then my mom also, like I knew she didn't want me to do that, but like we both knew that's what had to happen, you know. So I guess that's when that all started.
Yeah, well, I just want to start by saying like it's really like brave of you to kind of take on the whole load of your family, like, especially when your mom was sick. Like, you really stepped up and took care of like your younger sibling, and really showed like that you really cared about your mom and wanted to help her get better. But obviously, like, the effects of not having your father, that's what led you to prostitution, because like he wasn't around and you needed to help take care of your family.
Mm-hmm.
So how long like were you involved like in prostitution? Like, how long was that a part of your life?
I mean, like, the first time when I left the house and my mom like kind of like was like, this is what you got to do, and I knew that too. And so the first time I left my house, I was gone for probably like 3 months. And in that time, like when I came back, like I found that like my mom had like passed away, and so like I didn't know that until I got back. And like my little sister, like the welfare people came and took her, and so like I didn't really have anything besides them. So I guess, and then I turned again to prostitution as like a coping way, like because I knew I was getting what I needed to, and like obviously like I was like the gentlemen were taking care of me and things like that and giving me the money that I needed. But I mean, my sister's still in the child welfare system, and so like, and now that my mom had passed away, I'm kind of still like stuck in that. But like where I'm at now, it's kind of, I guess, like the end of my journey. I'm like hoping, I guess, because like now I'm just working for myself, and I've, you know, found like, you know, like the rich guys on the side of the street or whatever who come and pick me up and, you know, give me the things that I need, and I give them the things that they need and stuff. But so now like I'm pretty well off. I have like a house in Georgia, and I'm just kind of like living on my own. But again, now that I'm not like consuming my time with something or my thoughts with like prostitution, I'm kind of just like all my feelings and all like the things I've suppressed over my life are kind of like coming to the surface and like blowing up in my face.
Yeah, I can totally understand that. So you found a way like to get out of prostitution, but it was always something that like you needed. Like, it helped make you feel like the love and affection that you didn't have from your family because they were gone, and they gave you like money that was a way for you to survive. So now that you've gotten out of it, like you just kind of don't know what to do with like your free time. You don't know how to deal with your emotions.
Mm-hmm. And it like kept my mind off of everything, because like I didn't, you know, I was just worried about like before my mom died and my sister was taking my child welfare, like I was just worried about getting money for them, and then I was worried about like getting money for me and making sure that I had things to eat and things like that, and I knew where I could like be for the night. But now that I have like everything under control and everything's like pretty constant now, like I don't have anything to like keep my mind off of like what's going on in my head.
Yeah, well, it's like really great that you were able to get from like a situation where your family really didn't have anything, and now like it sounds like you're doing really well for yourself. So maybe like have you ever thought of like taking up like some hobbies like crafting or like scrapbooking or pottery, like something that's like constructive that like will help get your mind off things? Like does anything really interest you that like can kind of like fill that void that you seem to have?
I mean, I guess I never have really thought about that. I think that's a good idea, but it never really just crossed my mind. I mean, when I was younger, I used to like before I had to like drop out of school, I used to play like sports there and things like that, and I used to scrapbook with my grandma. So I mean, I guess that would be something fun that I could take up. And also I was just like, you know, looking for like some people or like an organization that I could go and join or something like that, so I could be like around people who have like a positive influence on my life and things like that, so I can kind of like address what's going on in my head, but like also try to still move forward.
Yeah. So like, what are some goals you hope to accomplish, like from like meeting with me and talking like about like your past? Like, what are some short-term goals that like you hope to accomplish within the next year?
I guess just like being in a place where like I know I can like process the things that are going on in my head, and also like I said, like trying to find somewhere, like I don't know if you have any resources of places that, you know, have, you know, different things that I could get involved in or things like that, that would help. But yeah, I think just like being able to think about things and talk about them instead of just in my head and me thinking about everything that's going on.
Yeah, kind of just like releasing it.
Yeah.
Like, so you're not like going home and like thinking about it. Like, you can like let it go at like a meeting and then like not have to think about it later because you've already had peace with it.
Yeah.
But that's something like really great that like I can like definitely help with. There are a lot of or not organizations, our like community center, they actually have a lot of like adult sports leagues. So you mentioned that you really like sports. Like, that's definitely something you could get involved in. They have sports all year round. So like by joining that, like that's gonna help give you like a support system within your teammates, while also finding like a release. Because I know like sports sometimes release like anger and like kind of like just provide like an emotional release as well, because you're not thinking about it because you're playing the sport. So like that could definitely be something you can look into. Also, like our community center also has like scrapbooking club, so that could be like something really fun. It's usually like a lot of like older ladies, but they're like always looking for young people, so that could definitely be something you could explore and kind of like bring back those happy memories of your childhood before like everything that happened. And I could definitely like meeting with me, like we could definitely talk about this, but there are support groups for people that have like gone through similar things. They've like lost family members, they've gone through not like necessarily prostitution, but they've gone through like sexual abuse and like having to take care of their family. So like that's definitely like something that you could bring to that group, like your story about that, and they can definitely support you and help like become a release for you within the community if that's something that you'd be interested in. I could definitely give you information about those options.
That sounds awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, it was really great talking to you, Clare.
Yes.
I'm so glad that like you felt comfortable enough to tell me about your story, and I look forward to like learning more about you and like seeing you grow, and then like the new activities that like you can start to explore.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, have a great time. I'll see you next week.
Okay.